Welcome to Everyday Ethics. I'm your host, Michael Liebowitz. Persephone is here, and I think she's got some stuff for us to talk about. I really hope she does. And if she doesn't, well, you know who to blame, and it certainly is not me. Please, everyone, remember to tune in today, 3:15 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be talking crime corrections and culture on this very channel. Persephone, go ahead.
Are we talking? We're continuing our grifter talk, aren't we? With
Yeah. What is
captured,
happening here? What is going on here?
you know. So I put a video up which you sent me, which was horrible, which I hated, which is
All
like a
right.
running theme today.
Okay.
So shall we watch together?
Well, let's put it up here. Yeah.
The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war.
Right. Just to see what's going on, because I have to see what's going on in order to do the various shows, I follow these assholes, Cat Turd and Gunther Eagleman. I don't know how they live with themselves. I really don't, because all they do is kiss Trump's ass. Whatever Trump does, they approve. It doesn't make any difference. Now, the thing is, it's likely you don't know if they really believe it. They might, but it seems they're just grifting and they just want attention. They have lots and lots of followers on X, which means they get paid on X. And the point is that we're trying to do is to think critically about these guys. Now, the thing is, Persephone, right? We're picking extreme examples, right? Of, Trump flip flops. One day he says this, next the other. Those guys, same thing. Say one thing, say one thing one day, another thing another day. But for critical thinking purposes, to identify grifters, not everybody is going to be that obvious, right? But you still want to be alert for it, for when it
Yeah.
happens, for when somebody says one thing, does another, rapidly changes their views, their positions without any explanation. Go ahead. And by the way, audience, we do appreciate these super chats and super stickers. And we very much like your comments and questions. And the questions and comments don't have to relate to the topic at hand.
No, I mean we're talking about grifters, but if there's any questions that would allow me to not talk about how much people suck, um, I'd appreciate that. Um, so the same as what I said about Matt, the same as what I said about Matt Walsh. Like anybody who says, don't trust all of these other people, trust me instead, or who flip flops wildly, it I just don't even know what to say, honestly. Actually, I do have one thing to say.
So say it.
It's completely understandable for someone when they learn new information to change their mind. And I just want to make it clear that it's okay to change your mind if you receive new information, because
Right.
a lot of what these people do is, if you do change your mind, then they're like, oh, look at you, you never had like a solid like base in the first place. But no, if new information does come to light, then you're allowed to change your mind. But if you flip flop back and forth constantly and you just go with whatever the crowd is saying at the time, and when pushed on why you have a certain stance, you can't answer, or they person that you're listening to can't answer why they have a specific stance or why they changed their mind, and there's no indication, if you're looking for it, that they have come across any new information that has changed their mind, then don't trust them, because then they're just assholes.
This is true. Akira Felix says he left a question on the website.
Is it the one that we answered yesterday or the day before?
Akira Felix, I certainly hope you're not telling us to go answer a question that I already asked and we already answered.
You know what happened is we answered the question and Akira wasn't here.
I think he got a different question now, though. Is it a different question, Akira? If it is, ask it now and then we can answer it. If it's just the same question, well, you know.
Oh no, he did answer.
No, he's got a new question. I'm so sorry, Akira, for my co-host casting aspersions at you and making unfounded allegations. The problem is, as I've mentioned in the chat, is I'm wearing a new shirt today, and the color kind of brings out my eyes. They're hazel, and she's having a hard time. She's distracted. But we are going to get to your question.
Okay, it is a very good color on you. Before we get to Akira's question, which is going to derail us completely, please play this video that I found of Donald Trump speaking about the war in Iran.
May die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
That's just what he sounded like when he said, you know, people will die. Anyway, so Akira's question was, why is it that every time you guys talk about trans issues, I'm not available? I was listening to Monday's show about J.K. Rowling, and I wanted to ask your views on pronouns and transphobia.
Okay, he wanted to ask, or he's going to ask, or did he ask?
He's asking. He is asking,
Okay,
what are
so
your views
my view of pronouns is that I think that it can be a bit ridiculous. Like, you know, when you have to say they, them, and then you know. But the main thing that irks me about it, and somebody pointed this out to me a few years back, is that it's not just that it's the pronouns. It's that people expect you, when woke was in sort of full throttle, they expect you to catch on to their new things like this. So we go through our whole lives of not speaking in terms of they and them, and then they institute it, and now it's you didn't refer to me as the proper pronoun, and why don't you have pronouns in your bio? And you can see my pronoun in my bio. Why aren't you using it? And that's just, regardless of the legitimacy of the pronouns, to expect everybody to just catch on immediately and getting mad when they don't, or thinking that there's some moral failure when they don't, is absurd. Okay, so that's the first part. Secondly, I really don't care. Like, if somebody tells me to call them, if Persephone came on tomorrow and said, listen, from now on, I want you to call me Steve, I tell her, okay, Steve, I really don't give a shit. I'll call her whatever the hell she wants. If she wants me to refer to her as him, I'll say him. I don't really care. I'm not going to pretend. If somebody says to me, hey, do you think Persephone is a guy? I'd say no. I don't. I'm not going to lie, but and if I was writing myself, I would not refer to a girl as a guy. I would still say him. Or I might say, Persephone. I got to stop saying it because people are going to think it's real. Let's say it's somebody else I know, say a woman named Julie who now wants to be called Julian. I would say Julie, who prefers to be called Julian. But I'm not going to pretend, not for anybody, that somebody is something other than what they are. But I don't see the big deal if somebody identifies as a woman or wants to identify as a woman, but still it's a man identifying as a woman. I hope that I'm clear and making sense. The issue is a bit confusing from the get-go. Your thoughts, Persephone?
I have, when I was younger, when I was like leaving high school, early college years, my group of friends was largely gay guys and a couple of lesbians and some trans people, right? That was my group of friends. And we spent all, like, whenever we went out, we went to sort of like the gay section of town, right? And we went to all of the gay clubs. So when you were at the gay clubs, you ran into a lot of people where you were like, I'm not really sure if you're a man or a woman. And you ran into a lot of drag queens, people who were trans. And I had some friends who transitioned, who ended up transitioning. And my friends who transitioned and the people that I ran into at the clubs who were pretty like comfortable with themselves, if you were speaking to someone and you said, oh, this dude, and they go, well, actually, I'm a woman, and you go, oh, sorry, I didn't know, they're like really chill about it. So for the most part, it's okay. Then when I started working, I had this younger girl, and she wanted to be called they, them. She was femme presenting. She was a girl, and she was very insistent on the fact that you call her they, them. And if you made the mistake of saying her, she would fly into a rage. And it was like, well, I made a mistake. So if the people that I'm talking to are chill and nice, I don't have a problem with it. And I think that the most people are not going to have a problem if you slip up and you say the wrong pronoun or you misgender them. I mean, fuck it, I've been misgendered before. I used to have short, spiky hair. I used to get called like sir all the time. So most of the time, people aren't going to mind if you misgender them or if you use the wrong like pronouns, whatever. The people who do get pissed off about it and the people who are super insistent that you get it right every time and from the first time that you meet them, and God help you if you misgender them, those are the kind of people who want to be winners in the Victim Olympics. And they're genuinely like not worth your time most of the time.
Right. Akira Felix makes a good point. He says, most of us millennials and Zoomers have at least one trans friend, so I don't particularly have a problem with pronouns unless it's something dumb like Zer or Zim. I don't even know what the hell that is. But I think, yeah, with younger people, it's not a big issue when somebody's trans. And I don't particularly care if somebody's trans. But, if you get to the point where you're telling me that I have to date somebody with a wiener who thinks they're a woman, I'm not doing that. That's a deal breaker for me. The penis is a deal breaker. And I don't, if you want to tell me that I'm biased or prejudiced or whatever, yes, I am prejudiced against dicks. I don't want one in my girlfriend. Or no, I didn't put that the wrong way. No. I don't want my girlfriend to have one. I'm not against them. I don't hate them. I'd be friends with them. I'd hang out. It wouldn't make a difference to me. But I'm just not gonna make believe either.
I don't have a problem with people who are trans at all. Again, I've had friends that are trans. What I do have a problem with is when trans women want to access services, specifically health services that are for women, or when they use their status as a trans person to inflict themselves on other people, right? So there have been a couple of
I don't even understand this though, Persephone. Like, what does some dude think he's gonna have happen at a gynecologist? I don't understand that.
They want it because it's it's gender affirming. It makes them feel.
But what is going to happen? That's what I don't understand. You're going to go to sit this guy in. You're going to put his legs up, and he's got the dong out. I mean, I don't understand what is happening.
Here's what I've understood about this whole thing is that gynecologists can help. If a woman has hormone imbalances, they can go to a gynecologist, and a gynecologist can assist them with hormone imbalances. And because trans women take hormones, they want the gynecologist to help them with their hormones. But the thing is, a gynecologist is specifically for like a woman's reproductive organs. I'm sorry, even if you have a neo-vagina, like you don't have a neo-vagina.
Neo-vagina is a word?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Oh, for the love of everything holy.
Anyway, but so the thing is...
An inverted penis is what you mean.
So I have a problem with trans people who want to take services that are meant for other women. Or another thing that happens is that you will have trans women who haven't had bottom surgery that they want to go into women's only services, right? And this has happened a couple of times where there are women waxers who only deal with women clients for bikini waxes. And then a trans woman will say, well, I am a woman, therefore I want you to do my bikini wax. And the waxer is like, listen, I don't wax penises. And the dude's like, well, the trans woman is like, well, I'm a woman, so you have to wax my penis. And I just think that that's icky and predatory. And that I have a problem with. And I personally have a problem with trans women in women's sports. I think that if you have a higher level of testosterone, you have a biological advantage, you're stronger, you're faster. I don't think that you belong in women's sports. Sorry. That's my opinion. I told you, I said Akira's question was going to derail this completely.
The thing is this, like, I'm a private property person, right? So if you are, if you own a private business, or if you are a private gynecologist, or there should be no government gynecologist, or, taxpayer funded doctors. And that's part of the fucking problem. But so if you don't have a right to somebody else's services, I don't care if you're trans or whatever. If I go out right now and I want to go to the local pizza joint in my view, and the guy says, hey, I don't like guys in that color shirt coming into my restaurant, to me, that's his right. I think it's stupid, but it would be his right to do it. And if a doctor says, or if a masseuse or a waxer or anyone else, no, I don't handle dongs, then that should be that person's right. And maybe then you would have one of these waxers come along and say, you know what? There's a niche market for this. I'm willing to do it.
Yeah.
And that'd be fine with me too. But I don't know who the hell these people think they are, that they want to enforce other people to provide them with services. It's not your right to that service. It's not your right to the doctor.
I mean, I don't want to psychologize. I really don't. I don't want to ascribe to malice what could be something else. But so much of these big stories do seem extremely predatory and sort of almost fetishy.
Yeah,
because
I don't want to make it seem like these things are a bigger issue than what they are. Like, I don't think that there's an abundance. Like people have said, I've heard people talk about men, they want to get into women's locker rooms. I do not think there's an epidemic of heterosexual men pretending that they're trans so that they can get into female locker rooms, right? So I don't want to make it seem like that's happening. But at the same time, I understand why teenage girls, for instance, don't want some dude with a wig or long hair coming into the locker room and pretending that they're a chick. But again, I think that this is another problem that would be solved if we would respect private property rights and get government the hell out of education. Because then if you're a parent, you send your kids to the school that doesn't allow dongs in the locker room. And it's the same thing with a private gym or anything else. So I think that we talked about, for instance, on the correctional show that we do, and we'll be live today at 3:15 p.m. Eastern time, is that it's a sense of entitlement, right? I am entitled to be in the locker room that I choose. I'm entitled to use the bathroom that I want. I'm entitled to a doctor's services. I'm entitled to the waxes. No, the fuck you're not. But that's true whether you're trans or not, in my view.
Yeah, I mean, the aspect of this that I probably find most interesting is not necessarily the just like trans aspect of it, but the reason things like that, you know, people who want to go to a waxer that deals specifically with females, the reason that they can get any traction is because of cancel culture and because of like how social media allows them to say, well, this person is a transphobe and therefore they need to be cancelled.
No, but here's the thing, and Akira Felix touches on something here, right? So, Subby, I'll get to Subby's question in a second. Akira Felix says, I remember that a lot of people were intentionally misgendering. I interviewed an objectivist trans woman, right? And he says people in the comments were misgendering her on intentionally, and he says he thinks transphobia is a real phenomenon too, and I do also. And I think if you're just doing it to be a douche, where you keep saying him when you know the person wants to be referred to as a woman, I think that's an asshole move. And I also think the people out there who are talking about they're sickos or they're this or they're that, I think they're assholes too. And I think that's a real problem. So Subby wants to know, are we entitled to the definition of a word, the definition of a man, or the definition of a woman? So here's my problem with that. No, we're not. But I'm meticulous with my use of language, regardless of what the word is, right? And there's a lot of people in my life who have told me I'm being a dick because I'm being too literal, or, I know, you know what I mean. So I don't want to see people that are just saying we need to stick to the definitions of these words, the definition of a man or a definition of a woman when it comes to the trans issue. If we're really concerned about the use of language, like I am, well, then let's be concerned about the use of language, right? Let's be concerned all the time, not just when it's a pet issue. It reminds me of the people who talk about the Bible, who say, well, the Bible says homosexuality is a sin. Yeah, it also says to kill people if they're working on the Sabbath. Right? So why are you focusing in on this one thing, but not the rest? Why aren't you killing people for working on the Sabbath or getting upset with people who aren't doing their beards in the biblically prescribed way? Right? So if you're going to be that, if we're going to say, like Subby does, definitions matter, okay, definitions matter. Words matter. Then, but okay, grammar matters too. So don't use who when it's supposed to be whom. And when I call you out for saying who when it's the object of a sentence, not the subject, don't get pissed. Right? If you say, let's go conversate, and I point out standard English is not conversate, it's converse, don't get upset. If you say I could care less, and I say, really, it's couldn't, because could doesn't make sense to express what you want, don't get upset about it. If you're going to be a literalist and you want to use words, let's use them. Are you understanding me, Persephone? You're looking at me like I have two heads.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying this lesson of this today's episode of everyday grammar.
Well, I'm just saying, my point is that I think, yes, definitions of words matter. My ultimate point, and I'm taking it to kind of an argument ad absurdum, but my ultimate point is I don't think that it's really usually about people want to be correct with definitions of words. I think they dislike trans people and so are using that as the excuse, similar to when they said the definition of marriage is between a man and a woman.
Yeah.
Right? But yet use words inappropriately, I'm very confident all the time. Or not, let me be the literalist, not all the time, but frequently. Does that make sense to you?
It does make sense. It does. I will respect you as long as you prove that you're worth respecting. I'll respect you until you prove that you're not worth respecting, at which point I will tell you to go fuck yourself. And that applies to trans people, and that applies to people on the internet, and that applies to everyone.
Did you see what Subby said? Subby, I think maybe, just maybe, you could have worded this a little differently.
just a little bit.
Subby says, I don't have a problem with trans people. I just have a problem with people pretending that one thing means something completely different and shove it down my throat. Okay, Subby, I agree.
Yeah, those same people oppose homosexuality. Transphobia is just homophobia for them. Like, I think as long as the person, if they're a gay person or they're a trans person or they're a liberal, as long as they're respectful, just leave them alone.
I agree. And I'm not a big fan of referring to hers as hims and all that thing. I'm generally not. If somebody asked me, I'd do it. You know what I mean? But in regular discourse, I won't. I just think that there is a tendency for people to use bullshit excuses like the definition of words, for instance, when they're not normally all that concerned about the definition of words.
Right? I also feel
that to me, it's just it's like I think it was J.P. Morgan. You can look this up. Who said a person usually has two reasons for doing something: one that sounds good and a real reason. And I think that's largely the case when people say words have meaning.
Yeah. I also think that this is one of those sort of like terminally online issues. The amount of the amount of trans people in the world is really small.
True. Well, how many people, for instance, a lot of these folks are with the Trumpsters, right? How many of these Trumpsters want to really stick to the definition of words when it comes to constitutional originalism, capitalism, free enterprise, things of that nature, individual rights? I mean, then it's a, different story. So that's my take. Did you find the J.P. Morgan quote?
It is often attributed to J.P. Morgan.
Okay.
Or did you want the actual quote?
No, I just wanted to know if he's the one that I don't care. Maybe it's not him. Maybe it is. Whatever. You can find that out too if you'd like.
These people say it's by Dale Carnegie.
Dale Carnegie said in How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie attributed it to J.P. Morgan.
Okay,
that's where I got the quote. That's where I got it from. It's in that book, but he quotes J.P. Morgan. All right, we're just about out of time. In 15 minutes' time, we'll be discussing issues concerning corrections. Specifically, I believe today is chapter 2 of the book, Down the Rabbit Hole, How the Culture of Corrections Encourages Crime. I hope you will all join us. It should be a wonderful discussion. I know Persephone will be there, and I know I will be there. Thank you, everybody, for joining today, for participating in the conversation. And a special thanks to Akira Felix for providing us with a question that led to a rather robust discussion.
Thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here at Everyday Ethics on the Capitalist Corner channel. Until
see you
then.